Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here at Mary Makes the Call. I'm Mary and I'll be here every week during the college football season. I'll be here talking about the games that happened last week, what games to watch coming up, and everything in between. And I think you might remember my sister here. She's here with me.
Testing. Here I am on location with Mary, and Mary Makes the Call.
That's Laurie.
Hi.
She's here too. And in addition to both of us, we have another segment that we like to call Off the Field Spotlight, where we're going to feature a player or a team that is making a positive impact off the field or showing some act of kindness. So stick around for that. You're gonna enjoy that one. So let's start by talking about last week. Did you watch the Alabama-Georgia game?
Well, as a matter of fact, Mary.
No, she didn't.
No.
Okay, so here's what happened. Alabama scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 possessions. So with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, the score was 21-0. I thought, this game's over. Alabama's going to take this game. I'm going to flip on another game. And I continued to watch the second game. With a few minutes left in the Alabama game, I flipped back to it. Good thing I did, because Georgia crawled their way back into the game, and they were going down the field, and they scored a touchdown. That puts them up by 1. The score's 34-33. And then Alabama gets the ball. They score a touchdown on 1 play, 1 or 2 plays. So the score goes up 34-41. Georgia gets the ball. Time's ticking down. They're charging down the field. Looks like they're going to score.
And they win.
They throw an interception. Game over. Alabama won. But it was very exciting there. It went back and forth and back and forth. Very exciting.
Sounds like both teams tried as hard as they could. So.
Well, they tried as hard as they can to win. They don't want to try hard as they can to lose. So
I'll put that in my college football notes to study. Go on.
Okay. Also, we had Michigan and Minnesota. Michigan ended up winning that game 27-24, so it wasn't a huge win, but they won. But the thing that I want to bring to your attention is the play that happened with Minnesota player Daniel Jackson. He was going into the end zone, and he had pretend my water bottle here is a defender. He had 1 step on him, and he had his hand like this, and this is a football, came in and caught it like with his hand, and then twirled around, got possession, and scored a touchdown. So
wow.
Even though they ended up losing that game, that catch was outstanding. Daniel Jackson from Minnesota. If you didn't see it, Google it, because it was a great, great catch.
So it came over his shoulder, and he.
Yeah, it came over his shoulder.
And he caught it like that.
Yeah, he had his hand twisted.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. I couldn't believe he caught it.
That's a great throw.
Yeah, on target for sure. Other games were Indiana at Maryland. Indiana beat Maryland 42-28. This is Indiana's 5-0. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
5-0, first time since 1967.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Oklahoma beat Auburn. Now, Auburn was dominating that entire game, but then they ended up losing by just a touchdown. So the games that they've lost less than 7 points. So they're gaining momentum. They have the potential to win. They just need to finish the job. And I think that's coming up here real soon. So I'm going to keep my eye on Auburn and see how that goes.
It's still early in the season. There are plenty of games left.
Yes. Upset alert. 2 games were upset. Do you know what they were?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you. We have Kentucky beating Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss at the time was ranked number 6 in the country. Kentucky, not known to be a strong football school, but and they're not ranked, so they were the underdog. Ole Miss was supposed to just clobber them, but they ended up losing 20-17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, does that up their ranking, or?
Well, I don't know if it's going to, other teams have to lose.
Oh, right.
There's a lot that goes into it, but it does mean that Ole Miss has dropped down to number 12.
Ah.
So they've fallen 6-12.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. The other upset game was Duke. Duke beating North Carolina. They beat them 21-20. So that was another close game. And it hasn't been since 2018 when Duke has beaten North Carolina. And Duke is undefeated.
Huh.
Yep, 5-0.
Are they typically a football team?
No, they're not. They're typically actually both of them are basketball schools. But North Carolina generally has the stronger football program than Duke. But so Duke's been doing pretty good for the past few seasons. They're ramping up here, so good for them. Glad to see them having success in football as well as basketball. All right, that brings us to this week. Coming up, Miami Hurricanes at California. Weird, right? Miami Hurricanes at California. Now, this is weird because they are now both in the same conference, the ACC, which is the Atlantic Coast Conference. And they're like, but California's on the Pacific Coast, right? Exactly. So this is new, but there's a lot of shuffling going around with the schools, changing conferences. So this is a first. So Miami and California, this is the first time they're meeting. Miami's 5-0, California's 3-1. I'm going to be watching that game to see how that plays out.
So it's East Coast versus West Coast.
Correct, but they're
in the same
in the same conference, in the ACC.
Okay.
The other game I'm going to be watching is Missouri at Texas A&M. Now, this is the only game on Saturday where two ranked teams will be playing. Missouri is ranked number 9. They're 4-0, undefeated. Texas A&M is ranked 25, and they're 4-1. So they are both in the SEC conference, and I'm going to tune in to watch this game because this is going to be a really good competitive game.
And where are they playing?
They're playing in Texas.
Ah,
So,
okay.
The other game that I'm going to be watching is Auburn at Georgia. Now, you just heard me talk about Auburn gaining momentum, and they're just barely losing. I think they're getting their act together, and Georgia is winning, but they're just barely winning, and Auburn is just barely losing. Auburn doesn't have a winning record right now. They're 2-3, and Georgia's 3-1. I think this is going to be the game where Auburn wins and starts turning things around. So I'm going to be watching this game for sure. Auburn at Georgia.
Sometimes the underdogs play a lot harder.
Right, exactly. Some other games that are coming up. We have a couple of undefeated teams in addition to the ones I just named. We have Pitt, who's at 4-0. Indiana's 5-0. Tennessee, 4-0. Rutgers, 4-0. And Ohio State, who is 4-0, but that's no big surprise. They generally have a very strong football program, and they're usually undefeated. So, but we have Pitt going into North Carolina, Indiana going into Northwestern, Tennessee going into Arkansas, Rutgers going into Nebraska. Now, Nebraska is 4-1, and they're favored to win. So I'm going to keep my eye on that game too. And then we have Iowa, who is 3-1, going into Ohio State at 4-0. So I'm going to be watching that. There's a lot of football going on that I'm going to be watching this weekend.
So you're going to have to find a sports school that has like 20 TVs.
Exactly.
Mayor, just a quick question. Northwestern, where is that?
Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois.
I didn't know what state. Every state has a northwestern area, so I just was
It's
just checking.
So, I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus went to Northwestern.
Oh.
Oh,
Did she play football?
no. She played the role of a vice president, though.
Right, and Elaine.
Elaine,
could have
yep,
played football,
yep.
I bet you. I saw her dance. She could kick.
She's a good dancer. So, anyways, Michigan and Washington are playing. They're going to face off again. Now, I'm calling this one out because this is a rematch of last year's national championship where Michigan won. So this should be another good game. Michigan goes into Washington. Both these teams have new head coaches. I'll be anxious to see who wins that game. And then we also have Ole Miss, like I just mentioned, dropped from number 6 to number 12, playing South Carolina. Now, South Carolina, I don't think is ranked, but they are playing hard. They stand a chance of beating Ole Miss. So I'll be watching that one too. A lot of games going on. I told you.
Imagine that.
I told you it's October now, so more competitive games are going on, and So
More games to watch for sure.
clear your schedule. Sit down, watch some football. So if you like what you're seeing so far, hit that like button, the thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button so we can grow our channel. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, off the field spotlight player. This week we're going to feature Brian Dooley. Brian Dooley is an offensive lineman at Eastern Michigan, where he was. This happened in 2023, but I thought it was worth giving him a shout out as well. Brian Dooley was in the graduate program at Eastern University, and he was on a full scholarship. He was doing his last year of school. And then he found out that his fellow offensive lineman, Zach Conti, was having some financial hardships. He was selling his plasma for tuition to stay in school and play football. And he was in danger of, quitting school and quitting football. So Brian donated his scholarship, his final year scholarship, to Zach, and so he could finish school. So
Wow.
my spotlight player goes to Brian Dooley, Eastern Michigan, offensive lineman in 2023.
Good job, Brian.
Good job, Brian. Okay, that brings us to our trivia question from last week. Last week I asked, every year the Heisman Trophy winner is awarded to the outstanding college football player. Who did not win? I'll give you a 1 in 4 guess. Ricky Williams, Eddie George, Peyton Manning, or Charles Woodson. One of those players did not win.
Charles Woodson, for sure. He's the only one I don't know.
He's the only one you don't know. Well, I'll have to introduce you to him this weekend through the television because I don't know him personally. But Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy, and he ended up beating Peyton Manning. So Peyton Manning did not win a Heisman Trophy.
Wow, that's a shame. It could have changed Peyton's life. Who knows where he is now? No one ever hears from him again.
I know. He faded off into the sunset there.
He
so
did.
that
We wish him the best, though.
if he won, who knows what would have happened to him.
Who knows?
Could have made something of himself.
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to wrap up this week. But before we go, we have a winner. Not a winner, but we've selected a name for our mascot here, our elephant. Thank you for everyone who gave submissions.
Thank you for all the suggestions.
All the suggestions, and we've decided to go with Packy 12. Yeah, Packy 12. Thank you,
Packy
Tim
12.
Rose, for that name. So our mascot is Packy 12. And again, thank you everyone who played along with us. We appreciate that. So if anyone you know is making a positive impact off the field or showing some act of kindness off the field, we would love to hear about them. Please leave their name and their school in the comments below, and we will be happy to give them a shout out and give them some recognition here on Mary Makes the Call.
Absolutely.
And again, if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button, that thumbs up, and subscribe, because we would really like to have this channel grow. Thank you for watching Mary Makes the Call. I'm Mary. Everyone have a great day. Have a great weekend. Be sure to watch some college football, and I will see you next week.
I think you hit me in the face.